At Redeemer Baptist Church, we seek to worship God in biblical simplicity, to serve our community by meeting tangible needs, to communicate the gospel to those who have not heard, and to have Christ at the center of all we do.
So, hi, I'm Jared. I'm the pastor and the church planter at Redeemer Baptist Church in Panama. Today we are taking some food baskets to some of the kids that we minister to. It is approximately a little less than 2 months into the COVID-19 quarantine, shelter-in-place, lockdown, whatever you want to call it. And we are tomorrow going to be having our very first drive-in service at Redeemer. But to kick it off, before we got started, we wanted to reconnect with some of the kids that we have ministered to. So we have created some food baskets, and we're going to take those and deliver them to many of the kids that we know. Anyway, I hope you enjoy this video and just watch along for the ride. We had 3.5 years, and it has been a very slow growth. We have mostly have been kids that have responded. They came to our Wednesday night things. We are not really doing the Wednesday night ministry anymore. We decided that there were other more strategic ways to try to interact with the kids. There's already a kids club that meets every Tuesday after school, and we decided to just kind of join forces with them. A lot of the kids will show up for church just occasionally. A couple of little ones. I mean, there's one little girl that's been coming since she was probably 6 years old, and she's, I think, maybe 9 now, and she just comes on her own, and brings her little brother now too. Just this year, we have started having a man and his wife started coming. After 3 years of ministry, he finally decided to come and check us out, and before we had to shut down because of the quarantine, he was coming pretty regularly, and so yeah, we don't have a whole lot of fruit to show for our labors, but there are a few, and we know that God's doing more than what we can measure with our eyes or be able to count.
Well, one of the things that we've done is I have coordinated Vacation Bible School for the past few years, and we've had a small attendance, but it's still an opportunity to meet with the children and to serve the community, and also to cooperate with other churches as we work together. We've had churches that help supply the curriculum, churches that help supply all of the decorations, and then also help us with people coming and doing different tasks during BBS. A few of the other things that we've done is we have taken kids to camp. Day camp, we've taken some younger children, and with the older children, we've taken some to older girls camp, and they seem to really enjoy that opportunity. We've also done a GA retreat at the church. It was an overnight thing, and it was set up just for older girls that came. We had speakers, and we had a caterer come in and do some catering, and just it was a good opportunity just to, again, love on the community and just spend some quality time with those girls in the community. So, and then I've helped with power washing in the summer too. We've gone to houses and power washed houses, and I've helped with the mission teams that have come in coordinating food and meals for them. And then one of the other things that we do that really is a benefit, I think, to the community is just being a place that people can come and have a funeral. We provide the meal for the funeral, and I'll coordinate and try to get a hold of people and get that set up and things. But we've done those several times as a way of just serving our community.
I enjoy helping out with these kinds of projects, and it's a way of ministering to the people in Panama, and because I'm part of the church, I want to participate.
Jane Worstel, and my husband Art and I had not attended a church for many years, and that bothered him. And so we had many conversations about finding a place to gather with other Christians. I was always reluctant, and we had a conversation, and I guess that I gave him, and without realizing it, God also a list of what ifs, or if onlys, I guess. So, and on my list it was, well, if only it was a newly established church, so that we didn't have all the baggage of a church that maybe had been in operation for a long time. And if only it was nearby, so we didn't have a long drive to get to church. And if only it could be on Sunday evening, or some evening and not morning service. And if only it could be a pastor that I felt like I could connect with or relate to. And we had that conversation, and I felt like I was pretty safe at that point. And went to the mailbox, and that's when Redeemer, you all had sent out the postcards announcing the first service at Redeemer, which I believe was the very next Sunday. And you know, it said we're in Panama, which is just a few miles away. Sorry, but we're on only evening service. We are going to be newly established as a church plant. And then I realized that I'd known your grandfather my entire life. So kind of all the conditions I'd put out there were met. So it was kind of hard at that point to resist much. And so that's what brought us to Redeemer, really, was the postcard that y'all had sent out. And we first attended, and Art loved it from the minute he walked in. He loved the simplicity of it. He just loved the pure sermon straight from the Bible. And we just felt like it would be a place where we could both be comfortable. And then unfortunately, he got sick. His health got much worse very shortly after that. And it was, I think, that journey of his illness and then ultimately his passing that is what brought me on board and convinced me, because it was just the community of the church members, knowing that they were praying for us and supporting us and encouraging us, and you and Amy constantly providing that encouragement and the prayers. And I felt like God always knew on those days when we were thinking, this is going to be one we can't get through, I'd look up and here you'd come strolling down the hall with a big smile on your face. And that made a huge difference, because you were very much involved in that process with us. And I don't know what that journey would have looked like without Redeemer. I mean, we still would have put our faith in God, and He would have been with us on that journey, but it was so much richer because of that. And that's how we ended up there. He has been teaching me that I need the congregation and I need the church as to be a part of my life, and I need to be involved in that going it alone is not as rich as going it together. And I think that's probably the biggest lesson that I'm learning.
So you and Sally are both part of the Meals on Wheels for Panama, and as doing such, you represent our church. Would you be able to tell us about how you got involved in what you do with Meals on Wheels?
The Meals on Wheels program, you had sent me a text that they had a little post-it note, I think in the deli. They were needing volunteer drivers, and so I contacted them, and they had an issue with trying to find enough drivers. They had to have 5 drivers dedicated and in place before the program could come to Panama. And Panama desperately needed the program because Panama's a food desert, which means they don't have any sort of grocery stores there or any access readily to food. And that's an issue for, the disabled and the elderly, and really anybody that doesn't have access to transportation. And so when I called, they were excited when I said, that we would be coming in the capacity of the church, because I guess that felt to them like, we'd be more likely to stick with it. And so with that, I think we've been able to really serve the community, and it's been a blessing to them, but a blessing to us as well. And it's served the people not just with the food, but the people, the shut-ins, loneliness is a huge issue. And so just them knowing that someone's going to show up and talk to them for a few minutes every day. And if they have some little issue, taking the trash out or just little things, they don't hesitate to ask. And we're always more than happy to do those things for them. And then I think as human beings, we all desire to have a purpose in life. And oftentimes when you become older or shut in, you lose that purpose. And in the process, I think, kind of lose the desire to live. And I think that the program, and this is not just us on Thursdays, but all 5 days that we serve, and the other drivers as well, has given them a purpose back, because we have a sense of reciprocity, whereby now often when we show up, someone will say, I crocheted a coaster for you this week, or I have a tomato for you from my garden, or I picked you some green beans, or here's a bouquet of flowers from my yard. And they're able to give back too, and that's hugely important for people to be able to do that. And also I feel like not only just filling their physical needs, is that when Sally and I are going out, we also sometimes become aware of their spiritual needs. And I think that's another area where the church has helped, because we can call on you, and you were so good to quickly react and respond to that, to go and whether read with them or pray with them, or, just go and talk to them for a few minutes. And that's another need, I think, in that small community where they're not able to get out and socialize as much as they would like to.
So, do I get paid?
No, you don't get paid. Did you just video that?
Yeah.